Stochastic fiction game. This is a time writing game starting right now. I will create the stochastic fiction outline with this Python script by executing the script. This has created this outline right here. Ooh, and I see I need to commit a file. Ooh, what happened there? Well, let's not get sidetracked. Let's open up the stochastic fiction game outline. And it's going to tell us the parameters for today's story to write within this time limit that I've given myself, which is 2 hours. For today's stochastic fiction game story elements, we have setting time, future, setting main location, bathroom, conflict, person versus self, quantity of primary characters, mini, point of view, third, tense, present tense, genre, comedy, format, flash fiction. Those are the story elements for today's stochastic fiction game. And so for those story elements, let's start writing the story. I feel as if bathroom I get often enough, and maybe I got to change and add more locations to the script. I've written way more stories and flash fiction stories in bathrooms than I ever imagined in my life. But that is when you have fewer parameters for main location than you probably should. And for the setting time future, well, this is going to be a futuristic bathroom. And person versus self, well, there's no place like reflection than in a bathroom. So maybe that does fit after a little bit here, because we can be looking in the mirror. In the future, is this going to matter? Depends on the story. Maybe it won't matter. Primary quantity of primary characters, mini. Maybe there's a bunch of people in the bathroom, maybe 3. There's either 1, 2, or many. This is person versus self, and we have many characters, so maybe they're split personality now. Third, for the point of view, tense, present tense, genre, comedy. I gotta make this funny. Fudge. And format, flash fiction. Humor for me is something that doesn't come. I don't write humor a lot. It comes, but usually after editing. Or maybe I have a funny thought that I could put down real quick, unrelated to anything else, but then I can fit it into the story. But right now, I gotta do comedy. And that comedy right now, I'm not finding funny. And it's got to be in a bathroom in the future with person versus self and me. Characters, what do you do in bathrooms with many people? This could be a club for all I know. Let's do that. I feel as if many of the bathrooms that I've done during the past were not like, they're in houses or in offices or some sort of less public place. This is in a bathroom. Many people in the future. Comedy. This is gonna fall flat. And that's my prediction. The comedy aspect. If I got anything else, I could probably do it. Because I'm seeing like what comes to my mind right now is like a bar or a club bathroom. Big enough for many people to come in and out. Some hijinks happens. Maybe someone drops their phone in the toilet. I've done that recently. In fact, I did that just about an hour ago, unfortunately. Make sure you have that thing secure in your back pocket. Yeah, well, hey, that's where inspiration comes from. So maybe we're going to do that. But, I mean, it can relate. People will have that fear. So, I mean, that's what comedy takes. But what's funny about that? What were the thoughts going through my head as I felt the phone slip from my back pocket and into the toilet? Utter fear, and thankfully it was pre-doing the business, so it was a little bit cleaner. So there's that. I guess that's the first thing on my mind. That's the hijinks though. That's the comedy. Now there's many people here. in this quantity of primary characters. And the conflict is person versus self. And this, you're the idiot to put it in your loosely in your back pocket and pulling down your pants, and all of a sudden the thing slips out, falls into the toilet. Then you have that immediate stress of like, hey, holy cow, I got to get that thing out, and then I got to dry it off. Now, if you're in a private bathroom, it's a little bit easier to do, less sort of fear, I suppose, because you have easy access to things like towels, or you have access to rice if you get that drastic. Most of the phones nowadays actually have some waterproofing, so if they splash down a little bit, they're still going to work. So, proof in case, my phone still works. So, but if I was not in a private bathroom and I was in a public bathroom, then that would be a little bit more tragic, right? Because I don't have necessarily the towels readily available, or you're freaking out because you have no phone, and how are you going to get home, and all those thoughts go inside your head. Or in this case, how are you going to communicate with people? How are you going to be able to get that data that you lock so securely in your phone? Now, laptop is synced to the phone, so I suppose that's not a threat. But if you're in a club, in a bathroom, phone slips out and plops in a toilet, and you got to do your business. So that's another thing that could be the comedy hijinks. So they really need to go, but they also just dropped their phone. And so they're more concerned about cleaning their phone, but how are they going to clean their phone in a public bathroom? And this is where many people can come in. Everyone's going to offer advice. Maybe that's it. Maybe I found my comedy. Maybe I found my comedy through experience in life. Because I have recently dropped my phone into a toilet and was doing getting ready to go for it. But, again, it wasn't in public, so it was easy to recover from. And I didn't have to worry about a dirty toilet, which you'd have to in public, likely. I do a pre-flush, though. I'm like one of those people goes into a stall. I always do the pre-flush because I know there's going to be some splashback possibly, and it just kind of disgusts me that, there's potential of someone not having flushed. And typically people don't flush unless it's an automatic flusher. If it's an automatic flusher and looks clean, I think I usually don't. But if it's not, I always do, because people just don't flush these days, like they don't wash their hands. And let's see, what other sort of processes would be like concerning? You just got to dry it off. And then it's there resting in the toilet. Yeah, that's the story. This is a comedy, so this is great. I have my life. Life gives you inspiration. At least it gives me inspiration. Whether it's good inspiration or not, that remains to be seen, and that's totally subjective. There's probably some objective ways to measure inspiration, but I just don't have them right yet. I probably have the data set and structured data set, but that's probably only for me and not everybody else. You can only generalize so much about what you do in life until it gets so chaotic and different that it gets specific and unique. For this experience right here, voice crack. We have future, though. So future, I don't always have to have some futuristic thing. They're not going to be able to teleport or read another person's mind. I'm not going to lean heavily on that, because I think I have my story. I think I can get it. I think the tensions in using the bathroom, dropping the phone, and knowing the phone's safe. This is the future, so. But then you got how is this going to end? Maybe yeah. Well, let's write it here. Excuse me. Okay, so I have to try to, let's see. Life inspires. Loosen back pocket. The plop of the phone in the toilet. And I suppose, I'm taking this from the purely male perspective, because typically, especially in public restrooms, I will not, there's no, typically, stalls in a male's bathroom are always going to be full, and you're going to have a line. So there's no reason you're ever going to really go and pee in a stall. And if you do pee in a stall, you're going to do it standing up because you don't want to go through the whole process of wiping down the toilet and putting out the little piece of paper so you can feel like you're sitting your butt down on something that's a little bit cleaner. And so naturally, you're just going to kick up the lid with your foot, which I've done many times, and urinate in it. You're not going to sit down, is what I'm trying to say. If you're trained to be a gendered male in this American society, I do sit down on the toilet at night because I'm tired and it's dark. But if I'm at a baseball game, a club, at any social bathroom that has, and this is going to be, I'm going to make this balancing on a baseball game or a club. If it's and they both would have urinals. That's what I'm getting at here, is that I'm going to do the easiest thing that I can think of. Comedy is hard for me to write. Therefore, I'm not going to shift gender on this character because I don't want to have to then try to fictionalize something. You know, I've experienced as a human, I sit down on the toilet and pee is very similar to any other human being sitting on a toilet and peeing. We hold the same poses. We have the same problems with being able to make sure your phone doesn't fall out of your back pocket and fall into the toilet. In this case, it does. And let's just have this into I've also, honestly, I've heard stories that, you know, different things happen in women's bathrooms. They have a tendency to talk more at times and stick around, look at their hair, and be more social maybe, but maybe not. This is all generalized stuff that I've been told about people who went into men's bathrooms and women's and anyway. So it also, I don't want to like take away from my experience and trying to write this comedy because again, it's a stretch for me, this comedy format. So this is going to be a dude. Let's make it a baseball game. Let's make it we're already going to place it. So if it's at a baseball game, we already think like, hey, it's the United States of America. And we got location. Not that it's the only place in the world that plays baseball, but, well, I mean, it's the one where it originated and, well, the one where it's most popular and where all the players want to come play with the best players in the world. So people think of it more if I were to say soccer/football. Well, if I said soccer, then they'd be like, well, it's an American thing. Even though if I recall, not something America labeled the sport to begin with, but we just happen to keep that label. If I said football, well, all hell would go loose, and people could probably relate to it in many different ways until they found out what kind of football it was. And maybe that would be the best one. I mean, I've been to football games. The ones where you have a egg-shaped ball and you throw it and run it more than you actually use your feet to kick it. What time is it? Man, I got 14 minutes in and I'm already talking about this junk. This is what happens when you give yourself too much time, too. I think recently, maybe last week, I gave myself an hour, and I think I was about as successful when I gave myself 2. Does it work? How does this end? Well, let's lead up to tension. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pulling down my pants. Is this person like crude? Which would make it more funny. Like, am I going to be dropping a deuce? Or taking a poop? Crap. The plot. Not the plot. The plop. The plop. Plop. The plop of the phone in the toilet while about pulling while pushing down. Because you push down pants, you pull up. Pushing down pants. Okay, so there's... Man, this is gonna... I don't want to... I don't... Like, I think they're... Like, what would happen? Like, I don't know. Is it comedy? I don't know if it's going to be comedy or not. It'll be tense. And I got to write around the fact that they're still going to be doing their business while trying to wipe the phone down, probably, or do they get out of the stall? Oh, and they want the stall back. I think that's going to be it. Is that it is very crowded, and they do need to go to the bathroom, but they just really quickly need to get out and wipe down their phone, and then try to convince people not to go to the stall and that it's theirs. And then at the end, it does. Yeah, I'd say at the end they clean the phone. Their phone works, but they don't make it to the bathroom. They really have to go, but they have to decide. That's what it is. Okay, so let's write that. Yeah. I think that's so there's a lot of tension. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants and underwear to relax. Oh. No, to drop a deuce. I mean, that's like, I gotta think of slang. Is it deuce? Like dropping a deuce. Like and farting on the way. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants. I don't need to like go beyond that, I think. I think if I just continue with this, pushing down pants. What? How am I gonna write? This will be the effort to gracefully. I don't know. I mean, not all stories need a graceful definition or show of somebody having a bowel movement. Rarely do you really need to do that, unless you're writing really weird, like S&M stuff, maybe scat porn or something like that. That's kind of disgusting. Or if you're just trying to get real and like you want to have that murder scene be like right at the pivotal point, so you describe it all the way. But I got to at least get that body feel, that bloated feel. Plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants. And farting, quick relief. From a rumbling stomach. Stomach full of full of cheap beer. Nachos. And this is probably going to be at a big stadium and not like some independent baseball or even, or like It's got to have lots of people, indoor bathrooms, baseball, a 2 ballpark, 2 Grand Slam, hot dogs, full of cheap beer, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam dogs. Okay, that sets up at least the need. Full of 4 cheap beers. Let's say 4 cheap beers. This person's really, really gotta go. Rumbling stomach full of 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. Hopefully the name of the food will give some sort of show. This is the future. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. Unless the future could be now. Or it could be in the future and we could have a drone or some sort of toilet that self-cleans. But this is not the conflict right here. You're still going to have some device that communicates. I ain't going to have it that far in the future where it's like embedded in your skull. Then it would just like to throw away the whole purpose of this story. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants and farting, quick relief from the rumbling stomach full of 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants and farting, quick relief from the rumbling of 2. Okay. I don't need to read that again. Let's. And then that could be like a fart. Okay, so hand splashed. Hand. Pants down. And butt farting. My body twisted and tensed. Yeah. I should probably put the sounds. The plop of the phone was louder. The blop. Let's go with the plop of the phone. Home plate nachos and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. The plop of the phone. The phone plopped louder. Then the cheer of the crowd. After the 3rd strike. The plopped louder than the cheer of the crowd after a swinging strike. Four-hitter of the visiting. We're going to have this in the future. That's the future, is going to be an expansion team. No, let's do this. Now I gotta think of the what's a good Portland? Just because I know they want a team. This is Portland, Oregon. They want a team, and I don't know the name of that team. And there's a lot of baseball going on around here, so I at least fictionalize about that. But in this case, maybe it's not. Maybe yeah. Let's make it a fictional team. Let's make it. Just say the Portland Pickles. They became a major league team. Let's not. Let's do it the Portland Pioneers. Maybe? No. The Portland Docks. I don't even know. Let's just do it. It doesn't matter. Let's not dwell on it. Let's visiting Portland Pioneers. No. Yeah, it could be visiting. Called to the speaker in the bathroom. That way I can the home team I'll never name. The home team could be whoever's home team. You're just playing the newly expansion Major Leagues, Portland Pioneers. I should probably they got the Trailblazers already. And they got all the sort of names for... Anyway, let's move on with that. Portland Pioneers called to the speakers in the bathroom. Spoke through the speakers. Let's just say spoke through the speakers. Okay. Pants down and butt farting. My body twisted and tensed. Hands splashed. Ooh, God. Hands splashed into the toilet bowl. Gripping. And swiped. Hand splashed into the toilet bowl and swiped the phone. Dripping with urine-stained water. And not yours. And then if they're using the bathroom and they're sitting down, for the true confessional, for the number 2, that could be anybody. That way you just throw the gender out. I don't need to throw the gender in there. Which would make the story even better if you could just generalize it more. I mean, we can relate it to more people. Okay, this is person versus self. I suppose you're really just battling yourself right now. And your clumsiness of allowing you to do stuff like this. Which is be way too human at times. Quantity of primary characters, many point of view third, present tense, genre, comedy, format, flash fiction. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pans and farting, yes, got that. Hand splashed in the toilet bowl and swiped the phone, dripping with urine-stained water. Okay. Now we've at least set up the conflicts. Fudge. Yeah. This could go so many ways. Okay, this is kind of comedy, I think. I'm now thinking that this would probably could be a situational comedy thing. And maybe that's how I'll make it the future. That this is I got a lot of blank lines here. That this is just a non-gendered bathroom. Oh my God. Where you just have stalls. And yeah, I mean, It's not like anything special happens outside the stalls and nothing would happen. Yeah, anyway, well, let's not go that far, but let's just say that this, if it happens to matter, I don't think it's going to matter. Like, which is good. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants and farting quick relief from a rumbling stomach full of cheap beers. Okay. What would I do? I would immediately get out the toilet paper, I suppose. But then you're going to like think that it's not good enough and you're going to want to get out and get the more stronger stuff because the toilet paper in this at least is going to break and it won't really slop it together. It won't really clean it as quick. My body's tight. Butt farting. Stomach bubbles. While yanking. The toilet paper roll. That breaks. Wiping the 2 squares toilet paper. Wiping 2 squares of toilet paper spreads threads. I mean, what is it like? Smears. Over the phone. Over the phone. Wiping, whipping. Wiping, whipping. Am I whipping or wiping? Am I whipping or wiping? I think I'm whipping. Wiping. Whipping. Wiping 2 squares of toilet paper along the edges. Smears the spread. Smears paper and clumps. Wet balls. Near the phone seams. Pop the cover from the phone that falls and hits the toilet rim. This is going to be the motive to get out. And bounces to the pea-stained floor. Pull the toilet paper again. And a clump fills hand. Stomach bubbles and rumbles while yanking the toilet paper roll that breaks after 2 squares. Wiping the 2 squares of toilet paper along the edges smears paper and clumps wet balls near the phone seams. I pop the cover from the phone that falls into the toilet rim and bounces. It falls and hits and hits and hits. Let's have that hits. While yanking the toilet paper roll that breaks after 2 squares, wiping the 2 squares of toilet along. And smears paper and clumps wet balls near the phone. And the cover falls. That falls and hits the toilet rim and bounces. Pulls the toilet again and a clump fills hand. Pulls the toilet. What the hell is this? Pulls the toilet paper. I pop the cover from the phone that falls and hits the bounces. Only 2. Fart. Stomach sinks. Bowels feel heavy. Water stained urine. Drips from phone and clumps. Grabbing phone and pants. Wet from the swipe. Only 3 squares pull from the toilet roll until break. While yanking the toilet, stomach bumbles and rumbles while yanking the toilet paper roll that breaks after 2 squares. And swipe the phone, dripping with urine and water. Yeah. My nightmare. I suppose that's the comedy in it. I fart and stomach sinks. Bowel fills. Bowels. My bowels. Bowel feels heave. Heavy. Water stained urine drips from phone and soaks toilet paper. Grabbing the phone. I grab the water stained urine drips from the phone and soaks toilet paper. I grab phone case, pull up pants. Loosely fastened belt. Fire squeezes out. Sticky feet. Stomp his feet. Shoes. Sink and the next in line steps into my stall. Oh, boom, boom, boom. We still have tension, right? I think so. I feel tense. But, I mean, that's just normal. I suppose this story is making it a little bit more tense, too. Is there comedy in it? I don't know. I'm not much of a slapstick comedy type of person, but I would say this is probably more slapstick and it's situational. Would I laugh at this? I'd probably be able to relate even better. So probably. I mean, it's all about relating. You can't relate to somebody or their comedy, then it's hard to find humor in it. Stomach wobbles and rumbles while yanking the toilet paper roll that breaks after 2 squares. Wiping the 2 squares of toilet paper along the edges smears paper and clumps wet balls near the seams. I pop the cover from the phone that falls and hits the toilet rim and bounces to the pea-stained floor. Only 3 squares pulled from the toilet roll until breaking. I fart and stomach sinks. Bowels feel heavy. Water-stained urine drips from the phone and soaks toilet paper. I grab the phone case and pull it from the sticky floor and pull up pants, loosely fastening belt. I feel the wet. I wonder if this will be a timepiece when, in the future, if we all live, which there's a pretty decent chance there's going to be a good clump of society. Now, whether that society will actually live to the point to where we're freely putting in chips in our bodies and not feeling like it's a method of control for others, then this story will be pointless because you won't really have this digital device that connects you to life that's external from your body. But that's a time away until we can actually put that in your body, maintain that in your body, and then have the data in the model to be able to deal with the information that needs to come to and from your mind and body. Because that is not this, and it's just a phone, this will fit for a little while. I need to critique this at some point. I feel wet underwear. Yeah, that's disgusting. A fart squeezes out. I open the door and so you stick along in the stall, my stall. A few people mumble. From outside, from beyond the bathroom, the crowd cheers, and followed by the announcer. Might as well add a little bit more drama into this. I don't want to get this second person. What? This was third person though, right? Oh, fuck. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Man, why was I thinking this is first? I'm just going to put they. Their body twisted and tensed. Their hand splashed. Let's just do that. And let's just make it that so it can be like anybody. Can have a phone in the back pocket. They're sitting down and falls in the toilet. I plop the cover of the phone. They plop. They pop. They fart. Stomach sinks. There we go. Water stain is a past tense stains. Water stains. Water stained urine drips. What did I have there? Water stained urine drips from phone and soaks toilet paper. I grabbed the phone case from the sticky floor. The moist. They grab the phone case from the sticky floor and pull up pants, loosely fastens his belt. The water, the urine water, the moist. I have that somewhere. Yeah, the moist underwear. Shudders, thought and body, and loosens. A fart squeezes out. I open the door. As they open the door, while they open the door, their shoes stick. My stall, they think. They frantically, they pull. They frantically wave their hand before two paper dispensers, waiting for only one to disperse. Paper towel. They wipe. Wipe the phone. And clear the water. And press the power button. Seeing their phone illuminate the time. Next to them says, might want to put that in some rice. Or your body releases. Let's just copy and paste this thing right here. Okay. Is that done? I think it is. Setting time future doesn't matter. We're gonna put this in the future that there's just there's a neutral bathroom that just has stalls and sides and sinks, so you don't have to have that, worrisome about line of dudes with their penises hanging out, offending people. Which, hey, I get that. I wouldn't want to walk in any room that I didn't expect with the intent of seeing a bunch of dudes stand before urinals. But if I was prepared for it, like I am, because that's where I go, it's not a big deal. But it could be a little shocking if it's like how you would handle like a gender neutral. You just do stalls. I mean, why not? There's always the line for the stalls, and it doesn't matter the gender that goes into it. So this would be the case for that. That's what makes it the future. That's a crazy idea. I just think they should put more stalls, because that's the line. Like, and I get it. Like, you should just have 3 bathrooms if you want to do it that way. Just an extra one with just stalls. I don't think anything, creepy is going to happen there with a bunch of people in line, especially at a ballpark. Not saying it couldn't, saying there's a low probability of it ever happening. And if it did, then it'd be in the news everywhere, and rightfully so, because that'd be freaky as hell that people allowed that to happen. But that's a tangent. That's not comedy, and this is supposed to be about comedy. So, let's see if this does work. I'm going to call it done. I think if I wrote this anymore, I'd ruin it. And it's flashy. Does it have, let's critique, does it have the tension? Sure. And it has resolution, right? Like the plop of the phone in the toilet. Did they get it clean? Like, it doesn't matter about anything else. You've now had those 2 conflicts, and that's what happens. I need a name for this. Maybe, if it would be flashy fiction, It'd be something like stomach full of 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 gram slam hot dogs. Do I want to repeat that though? The pop of the phone while pushing down pants and farting quick relief from a rumbling stomach full of 4 cheap beer. Let's do it. Maybe, I don't know. That's kind of a horrible name. If I were to push this any further, I'd maybe have to be something else. 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 grand slam hot dogs. You're going to put yourself into some sort of... Let's do that. Let's read this aloud for today's stochastic fiction game. For today's stochastic fiction game story elements that I'm going to hopefully have written to and will rate after this as far as how I feel this story is and if it fits the story elements. For those story elements for today, setting, time, future, setting, main location, person versus self, quantity of primary characters, many, point of view third, tense, present tense, genre, comedy, format, flash fiction. For today's stochastic fiction story, 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 grand slam hot dogs. 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 grand slam hot dogs. The plop of the phone in the toilet while pushing down pants and farting quick relief from the rumbling stomach full of 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 grand slam hot dogs. Well, I gotta have that to be a complete sentence. Yeah. Well, I'm not ready. That was a lot of hype for not having a complete. I need a verb. The plop plopped outer. The plop of the phone in the toilet. Of the crowd. No, I mean that's man. This is what I want. There we go. That was an easy fix. Easier fix. Well, let's do this again. I'm not going to read the story elements again, but I am going to say for today's stochastic fiction game story, this is 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 grand slam hot dogs. 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 grand slam hot dogs. The phone plopped in the toilet while... Man, even that I messed up. What tense is this supposed to be? Present tense. I got most of this here. So if I did the phone plops into the toilet. The plop plops louder. Twists and tenses. Their hand splashes into the toilet bowl and swipes the phone. Okay. I think I got this. I want swipes like that, maybe. Rumbles, seams, breaking, only 3 squares, pull. Pull, not pull. Yeah, you always think you're done, and then you realize you don't want to have to read over your mistakes too much. They pop, okay, they fart, stomach sinks, their bowels feel heavy. Let's just have it a singular verb. A water-stained urine drips, great, present tense, present cheers, yes. Frantically wave, yes. Person next to him says, okay. I think I actually have most tense figured out. If not, I'll try to read over the mistakes. I feel confident this time. I might get through the first paragraph. Third time's a charm. Sometimes it's just the third time you do something before the fourth and fifth and sixth time you do something. For today's Stochastic fiction game story, we do have 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. The phone plops into the toilet while pushing down pants and farting quick relief from a rumbling stomach full of 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. The plop plops louder than the cheer of the crowd after the swinging strike of the 4-hitter of the visiting Portland Pioneers spoke through the speakers in the bathroom. Pants down and butt farting, their body twists and tenses, their hand splashes into the toilet bowl and swipes the phone, dripping with urine-stained water that splashes pants and underwear. Stomach bubbles and rumbles while yanking the toilet paper roll that breaks after 2 squares. Wiping the 2 squares of toilet paper along the edges, smears paper and clumps wet balls near the phone seams. They pop the cover from the phone that falls and hits the toilet rim and bounces to the pee-stained floor. Only 3 squares pull from the toilet roll until breaking. They fart and stomach sinks. Their bowels feel heavy. Water-stained urine drips from the phone and soaks toilet paper. They grab the phone case from the sticky floor and pull up pants, loosely fastening their belt. The moist underwear shudders through their body and rumbles stomach. A fart squeezes out while they open the door and their shoes stick along the floor to the sink, and the next in line steps into the stall. My stall, they think. From beyond the bathroom, the crowd cheers, followed by the announcer saying through the speaker, "That's the record-setting home run everyone came to see tonight." They frantically wave their hands before 2 paper dispensers, waiting for one to disperse a paper towel. They wipe the phone and clear the water and press the power button, seeing their phone illuminate the time. The person next to him says, "Might want to put that in some rice," while your body relaxes and releases 4 cheap beers, home plate nachos, and 2 Grand Slam hot dogs. Need a little water. Not horrible. I think I went first person somewhere, maybe. With those verb changes in the first paragraph, it seems a little odd. I think I double verbed one of those things, but maybe I can make it into like an adjective verb. I don't know. I feel like it hit parameters, though. I mean, there were many people in there, and there's the bathroom. Third tense, comedy, flash fiction, person versus self. You know, you can protect the phone, you can use the bathroom, the conflict. Future, there's no indicators that really would point that out, but it could be in the future. I like this story, honestly. Like, this is fun. This comes from those places that, through experience in life and suffering through the humility and then expressing it out loud, I can appreciate this. I'm going to give it a 4. It's not something I do often. Maybe I do. I've got the record so I could find out, but I feel like lately I've been doing 2s and 3s and maybe even a 1. Because this is the process, and sometimes I forget, like you notice the video game flash fiction power off one. It may just be missing a line, but sometimes I don't do these commits. More often than not, I'd say 99.99% of the time. Right, the stochastic fiction story. And rate it a 4. Publish it to be done. Well, there is still 53 minutes on this clock, but I don't need to take any more time. I feel like if I did, I'd just ruin the story. And so, I think this story and this stream and this process has come to the end for today, for this time. And until the next time, get out, live life, and if you really want to be creative and maybe someday consider yourself to be there and productive and continue to do it, you're going to have to find a way to use your own humility to bring more character into your characters you create with words.